How y'all are? It's Wednesday. We cooking up Cajun. We got Corey Leonard here. What's going on, man?
Nothing much, brother. Nothing much.
I like your title, Not Banned for Anything.
Not banned for anything. Not banned for anything.
Hey, we see that in Cajun, Mr. Air Natural.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. One thing you're going to find is caffeine, creatine, maybe some vitamin D gummies that I take in the morning. That's about it. Protein, caffeine, all the teens. Protein, caffeine, creatine. About as far as it goes.
Dude, that core power, that's some good shit.
Yeah. So my nutrition coach, shout out Blair Drum, Miss Smokey the Blair. Anyway, she's about to have a baby. Not the point. On my rest days, which is today, I'm still supposed to have my protein shake at some point during the day just to make sure I hit my protein numbers. And 9 days out of 10 on my rest days, I will forget to make it when I leave the gym in the morning from coaching because I don't think about it because I only think about it when so I end up stopping and picking me up one of these because they are delicious and it helps me hit my protein for the day.
What I find crazy about that, oh gosh, just nose of mine, is that usually the more protein you add to a shake, the chalkier it kind of gets, right? Just you're adding more powder usually or whatever. Sure. In that Fairlife group they have a 26 gram protein bottle and they have a 42 gram bottle. The 42 gram bottle is even creamier and smoother.
And it's the same size.
How do they do that? What kind of magic power?
I don't get it, dude. It's the same size bottle. It blows my mind completely.
It's insane. ACR. Oh, good to see you. Miss you. They have a 30 gram Fairlife too online.
Yeah, my wife had bought a couple 12 packs of those that we had. She got the chocolate and the vanilla. They're all delicious. The Fairlife people have got their stuff together.
And they have strawberry.
Haven't had the strawberry. It's a big fan of strawberry milk.
It is just like Nesquik strawberry, the pink bunny.
With the pink
bunny from my childhood. Oh man, it just brings back all the good memories, the good feels. Kaya, hi, it's funny. Your lunch show is my after work show at 6:15 over here. I always wanted to be a DJ in evening drive time. So now I am.
There you go. Yeah. It just happens to be the evening drive time is in London. It's fine.
Larry Young, I found Spilt, so I might be able to get my protein up.
I have no idea what that even might be.
I know
Larry, I am on 100. Say it again.
I know you're not supposed to cry over it.
No, that is correct. Larry, I am at 185 grams of protein a day.
That's a lot, dude.
Well, she's got me on basically a gram per pound of body weight. So, and I weigh about 188, somewhere up in that area.
Cheryl got me hooked on this Ghost protein. So, like Ghost, the energy drink?
Yeah.
It's actually a full supplement company. I don't know if you knew that or not.
I did know that. I didn't realize they did protein, though.
So they do proteins, and you can get like Nutter Butter, Chips Ahoy, flavored, and it's like dead on.
Dude, at Legends, gosh darn it. First Form people were there. Like they were the title sponsor or whatever. And so they had a whole table set up and they would just make you a protein shake when you got off the floor or if you just walked up and asked for one, they would give it away their sticks and whatnot. They had a salted caramel protein. Because no, I'm sorry, I'm lying. Salted peanut butter.
Oh, wow.
And I walked up and I said, bro, I need something. And he's like, what do you want me to make you? And I said, I have no idea. Like, surprise me. He's like, you like peanut butter? And I was like, sure. Like, I'm an adult. Yeah, of course I like peanut butter.
Who doesn't?
He made me this salted peanut butter, simple no other. Oh my God, dude. I walked away like smiling like I was a little kid. Like, it's so good.
All right. Got all these new buttons on here, man. So I can actually adjust your mic. You were a little bit soft, so I upped you a little bit, just so you know.
Turn me up.
Spilled has exactly what I need. No, I need them to sponsor an Old Joker. Hey, they want to sponsor an Old Joker podcast.
100%. We got room on the outline there.
We wide open. We wide open on the table down below, as the Cajuns say.
Bring it up.
And we're sponsored by Steak.
Yeah, you laughing, dude. Talking about me being from where I am this morning in our little group chat for Imam Company. And Brandon put a picture up. There was an alligator in his neighborhood last night. Luckett. And I don't know exactly where it's at, but I know Brandon lives like in a fairly nice neighborhood. Like he's got like a little pond behind his house and whatnot. I was laughing because me and Roy were talking about it's the cleanest alligator I've ever seen in my entire life. Like it looked like somebody washed it. It was just picture alligator in the dark on the street. And I was like, that is the cleanest alligator I've ever seen in my entire life. And Roy said, you are the most Cajun person I've ever heard of because you're the only person I know that would say, I mean, it's nice, but like, why is it so clean? I'm like, well, dude, I've never seen one that's not covered in mud and duckweed and everything else. Like it literally looked like somebody was like, wax this thing up before it gets out on the street.
When I lived in Tallahassee, Florida, you know, that in the colder days, the alligators would come up and lay under the cars to get warm.
Yep.
And they tell you that you should take a mirror out and check before you get in your car because they were biting the legs and ankles of people getting into their cars. It's a thing in the South.
When I told him this morning, I was like, generally speaking, if you leave them alone, they will leave you alone. But if they feel cornered, or sometimes if they're hungry, they can 100% get aggressive. So if they're sitting underneath your car just trying to get warm, and you walk up, they think that that's their place. So yeah, I would say just take a little peek and see, is that an alligator under my car? Yes, it probably is.
Thank God when I lived down there, I had a Jeep that was up. It was real easy to look.
Yeah.
Nobody.
You remember when years ago they were talking about people hiding underneath people's cars and like cutting their Achilles or whatnot with it and trying to rob them and whatnot? That's never going to happen to me because I drive a lifted Jeep on 35s. Like I know somebody's underneath there.
I really, really miss mine. I wish I had it back. It was a manual transmission. Love that, man. Miss it so much. But
so I just got new tires on mine last week, and it's a 6-speed. And I was watching them when they went because I was waiting to see because nobody knows how to drive a standard anymore. So I watched one dude walk out to it, open it up, get in it, and I saw him just looking confused, like just looking down like this, like he didn't know what to do. He went back inside, got somebody else. They came out. They pulled it in. They put my tires on, and then the dude came out a little while, like right as it was done. He came in the lobby, and he's like, "Mr. Leonard?" And I was like, "Yes, sir." He said, "Here's your receipt. We got you 4 new tires put on." He said, "I'm gonna be real with you. Nobody here knows how to drive a standard. I'm gonna need you to back it out of the garage." And I said, "Got you, my man. Got you. Don't even worry about it."
That's insane.
Yeah. That's a tire place, like a discount tire. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I wanted to talk about was, yesterday I was talking about like Dave being the ultimate scapegoat, right? And I kind of was pondering that overnight, and I thought about it like they can't fire Dave. CrossFit can't fire Dave. Because he is taking all the slings and arrows. You remove him from the equation, and it's all on the board and the CEO. Like
he is the most forward-facing person for the games.
And I don't think anybody else could have survived could have survived what Dave has over this year. And that's what made me start pondering like down the road, right? Is why is he still there? Like everybody wants him fired. Everybody's throwing all the blame at him, all the hate at him. And it's because he's protecting everybody else. And because of that, his job security is probably as high as it's ever been.
That's actually an interesting point. I like that.
If you take him out of the equation, there's nobody to hate but the CEO and the board of directors.
It's very, very easy, like y'all were talking about yesterday, for people to point fingers and go, well, there's the guy. There's the guy right there, because he is the forward-facing face of the games. He just is. It has been forever. Even the 1 year that Boz programmed the games, like everybody's just like, oh, Boz is programming the games. But he didn't have, and no offense to Boz is awesome, but he doesn't have necessarily the presence that Dave has. Like if you've been following it for a long time, like you see Dave at the games running around and like, do this, don't do that, do this, don't do that, blah, 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 whatever. And it's stuff just happens. And it's not that saying that that doesn't happen for Boz, but nobody's ever seen it before. Like for him to be able to, I keep using Boz because in my head, he would be the next person to step up as being programmer for the games, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But you don't have 20 years of Boz. You got 20 years of Dave, and Boz being the head judge. So, yeah, I think you got a valid point there. I don't know if they can't, but if you do, what's going to happen?
Right. If you weren't with us yesterday or with me yesterday, it came from Ariel's interview with Savon and Ariel blaming Dave for the way it went down at the games. The lack of transparency, the lack of, right. And my thought process was like, why is it all aimed at Dave and not the CEO and the board of directors, who are probably really running the show? And they sent Dave out to the Lions to be the messenger. Right. And then I thought about it more and I'm like, well, now they've done such a good job with getting everybody's focus on this guy here that now he cannot be removed from the equation. Because if they do, all of that attention now goes up to them.
You gave him a shiny new toy. They love their toy. They can beat on it. They can do whatever they want to it, and it won't go away. Because if it does, what are you going to replace it with? You got a point, dude.
Yeah. So Kaya has a lot here. I think they can and might once CrossFit is sold, depending on the new CEO team. Yeah. All of this is conditional to the current lineup.
100%.
Right. Once a new team comes in, then it's a fresh start and they may not need that shield anymore. And then, like it or not, there are also negatives attached to him, such as Lazar's death. He doesn't need to be responsible for it, but they may not want to carry that bag. I don't disagree. They may want to separate everybody that was involved once they move to a new plan, to just disavow any knowledge of that era. And
it's
move
still
forward.
there, though. I mean, it happened. It's forever. It's not going away. You know what I mean?
But I think her thinking is right. I think that if you're a CEO, you're a pretty confident person, right? Or you're a new owner, you're a pretty confident person that you have run businesses successfully and that you can do that moving forward. And I think that is definitely a possibility that they would. And even Davis said it on his own week in review. There's no guarantee he has a job, and he's okay with that. He has other things lined up that if that happens, he'll be fine.
Yeah, he said that on Pedro interviewed him last week. Like, he was flat out about it. He's like, I don't know if I'm gonna have a job tomorrow. I'm just gonna keep showing up to work until I don't.
Yeah. Train to Live. Ariel's podcast with Savon was great. They were both very open. From the convo, it seems like Dave's blessing comments made him the target. It was the blessings and then the Luca treatment.
Yeah.
That's the part that I can't get the connection to. Dave is not the director of the broadcast team. So him being put on TV has nothing to do with Dave. So like to make that leap that it's Dave's fault that happened, there was a good plan in place by the board of directors and CEO to make him that public face.
Again, like you're saying, that's their shield that they're holding up at that point.
Right.
And like you were pointing out yesterday, I promise you he had no say in that. They told him, look, before this event, we're going to do a tribute to Luca. You need to go out there with everybody that's going to be out there, and it's going to last for however long it lasts, and this is what's going to happen. And he was like, okay, moving right along.
You're right. He's the face of CrossFit, so they made that connection unfairly, in my opinion. He was
the face of the games.
Right. Face of the games, and he was put there by his boss, the CEO, and the board of directors. With a directive, I am sure, and I said that yesterday too. He was given a directive of what direction they wanted to go in, and he had to carry that out. So that probably gets the blessing comment, because how do we move forward if I don't convince these athletes to take the floor? But who is the only person from CrossFit to do a public apology for things that happened that day? It was Dave.
Yeah, his name's David Castro.
He is the
black hair
that actually did a public apology.
I've met him
all
him before.
Lack of funding or lack of a plan,
or having a shitty plan in place, or any of that.
Haven't seen Berkshire make any comments about the situation.
None whatsoever. And so Dave's a soldier. You know what soldiers do?
Carry out the mission.
Get your orders and you execute them. Dave was a Navy SEAL. Dave trained Navy SEALs. You know how good of a Navy SEAL you have to be able to be put in a position to train other Navy SEALs? Which means he executed his orders to levels that we will never know about how high they are. So when you tell him to get something done, you better make damn sure you actually want it done. Does that make sense? Like, don't tell Dave, hey, man, paint this wall blue, and then turn around and go, oh, wait, because he's already got it halfway done.
Yeah. Larry Young, I'll be glad when it's done and we know the new direction. I don't disagree with you. As I said yesterday, I'm not trying to go back, but what's happened is that the athletes are upset. They're upset at the media. They're upset at the narrative that's being said about them. They want to be a professional sport, and now all these alternatives are coming out, like the WFP and like MetFix and all these things, right? Well, through that whole process, there are 4 podcasts that interview athletes where you can see regularly scheduled interviews. And generally before last year, it was Coffee Pods and Wads, Savon, Talking Elite Fitness, and us.
Yep.
All of us have taken a step back from interviewing athletes since the games because it created a rift, right? And now, for the first time, we're all kind of picking up the pace a little bit on that. So you're hearing people's comments for the first time since the games. And now it's opening all this up. And I want that opening up to be a resolution that we can come to, or an agreement. Maybe not everybody's happy at the end of the day, but it's a resolution where we can move forward.
Well, you're never going to make everybody happy.
Didn't say that's why I don't care if we're all happy.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you on that one. Like, you're never going to make everybody happy. And the people who are going to be mad, they're going to be mad regardless of what you tell them. in my opinion. That's how dealing with public and various people in my job and in my daily life, the people who choose to be upset about whatever it is are going to be upset. And it doesn't matter if they get their way or if they don't get their way. They're going to be walking around with a boudet on their face regardless, right? Because because they're choosing to be upset.
Just with yesterday with Ariel and Monday with Fee, we've learned that there are two misconceptions already. Yes. Fee didn't know what the letter actually said that she signed because she thought Dave could stay on and program the games and everything was going to be fine and dandy there. She just didn't want him in charge of safety.
Right.
But that's not what the letter said, demanding his firing.
Not at all.
And Ariel said that she was mad that Dave allowed them to parade Luca out and show him on TV. How the hell could he control that?
Yeah, he has no control over that whatsoever.
Right. So there's all these misconceptions and we don't even know what they are because we haven't been speaking to the athletes. And if I'm going to be blunt, Talking Elite Fitness would never dive to this level to even find out what their thoughts and feelings were.
No, they're still asking athletes what their favorite color is and how much and what's a day you're eating like and how long have you been training for the game? Like, I'm not getting into that.
So what I'm hoping is that now that we're talking, we can get through some of these misconceptions and come to an agreement with the reality of what exists and move forward.
I think there's a whole lot of, like you were saying, Fee thought one thing was going on, was upset about one thing, thought she was signing something that was totally not what it was. Ariel was basically in the same type of boat, right? She just was mad about something that she thought somebody had control over that they didn't. I feel like there's a lot of that out there in the people who are upset because they have this one perception in their mind and it's either right, wrong, or indifferent. That's what they're running with, right? Perception is reality. Whatever you perceive, that's what you're thinking. That's where you're laying out. And without any kind of clarification, like you said, because I mean, it's just starting to pick up where people are starting to interview athletes again. You are starting to interview athletes again. Pedro has been here, there, and yonder, but not a whole heck of a lot, right? Most of what he's been doing has been around the whiteboard show and you know, interviewing this person here, blah, blah, whatever. Savon has just started interviewing actual athletes again in that capacity. Might have had him on the bullshit for a little while, but like actually like what he was doing with Fee and with Ariel and asking like in-depth questions, that hasn't happened. So there's a lot of misinformation, miscommunication, whatever perceived realities in people's heads that may not be exactly what happened. And without them all being able to get together and talk about it, or at least be able to put their stories out where other people can go look and go, oh shit, is that actually what happened? Nobody's ever going to know. And like you were saying, that's the only way you're going to be able to get resolution is if everybody's on the same page, right, wrong, or indifferent.
Yeah. I left out Be Friendly too. They've been interviewing people, but I'm not sure they're getting to the root of this issue either. So with that being said, I knew, so when you talk live, you always omit things and when you're not thinking. So I just wanted to, cause I had thought about that like it's impossible for them to remove Dave until there's a sale. Like and so we'll just end on that.
I agree with that.
The other thing I wanted to talk about is this idea of Spin talked about it last night about what is the role of media in CrossFit, because I think that like the perception from the athletes and their camps are definitely one thing. And what we as media people are trying to do is another. And it goes back to this like definition of professional. Like, is this a professional sport or not? Because if you want it to be, and we're striving to get that, the conversations are going to be from the media, everything that goes on in the space. We're trying to I now have a daily show. I've got to fill 45 minutes a day with content. You got to find the stuff that's out there. You got to have the discussions that are out there. And because it's growing and there's more options for this, as an athlete or an agent, you have less control over what's going on. Back when all you had was Talking Elite Fitness, it was a lot easier to control the story.
Yeah. Hey, man, I'm not coming on. My athlete's not coming on your show unless you ask them these questions.
Right. So you had Talking Elite Fitness and you had Armin.
Yeah.
The two, one from each side of the spectrum. And so you either got the Inside Edition Armin or you got the NBC Nightly News Talking Elite Fitness.
I love that. No, I love that. I love that. That is accurate. Like Armin reporting whatever at that point, which Armin's show
find whatever he wanted to.
Yes. Armin's show was fun because he would come on and just ask questions, say random wild stuff that may or may not be substantiated, and then cut it off, and we'll do it again soon.
Yeah. I mean, I listened to Armin every time he was on because that's all we had. That's all we had that had a different take than Straight Down the Fairway.
His was it Scale as Needed podcast?
Yeah,
was absolutely hilarious for being, especially when that was back before anybody went live, dude. But they just assumed to be live, but they just put themselves on.
It was a moving picture of ADHD.
Say it again.
It was a living, moving picture of ADHD.
Yes. Yes. It was so good.
So with all that, now that there's more options and people trying to fill space, like you're going to report on everything you see because you're trying to fill your time slot, for lack of a better term, right?
No, it's 24-hour news cycle. It's the same thing as when CNN went live. What was that? The late 70s, and they were there. Hey, we're going to go live 24 hours a day. How are you going to fill up news from 24 hours a day? We'll figure it out.
18 hours of opinion, 4 hours of news, 2 hours of ads.
100%.
If you want to be in the spotlight, it's there sometimes when you don't want it. I miss Armin.
Here's the thing, dude. If you're going to be out there and look at, I know we've said this, we've beaten this horse. It is so dead, but look at any other professional sport. Like if you want to be an actor, look at the NBA, look at baseball, look at whoever, dude, whatever any one of them does, it ends up on the news. If you do something, if you insult a reporter, whoever insulted this reporter or whatever, and God forbid you get to be good, because those are people that are just like average NBA players or average baseball players, average football players, can do something kind of crazy and end up on SportsCenter or end up on the news if it gets bad enough. God forbid you are Tiger Woods or somebody at the pinnacle of their sport. Look at
LeBron.
LeBron, dude.
That LeBron's hairline has moved forward. How did that happen? Did
he go to Turkey?
LeBron get a hair transplant?
Yeah.
That made news.
That's what I'm getting at, dude. Like we wanted to be professional. Well, this is what comes with professional.
Yeah.
Like, have y'all never turned on SportsCenter in the morning for like an hour? Just watch SportsCenter for an hour. You're going to get highlights from yesterday's games, whatever was going on, and then you're going to get news and gossip, actual news, and people talking about something that might happen. And God forbid somebody did something stupid. Somebody got a speeding ticket. Somebody got a DUI. Somebody was drunk in public. It's going to end up on the news. And it's the same thing if you want to consider yourself to be a professional athlete. you are going to be put in the spotlight and under a microscope, and everything you're going to do is going to be analyzed.
Every time I hear drunk in public, all I can think about is Ron White.
Ron White, yep.
I was drunk in a bar until you threw me through the window. Now I'm drunk in public.
They threw me into public.
They threw me into public. I wanted to be back drunk in a bar.
My favorite part of that bit is he said, I don't know how many of them it was going to take for them to whip my ass, but I knew how many they were using. Oh.
Vicky, third-party media isn't here to be hype people for athletes. They're here to chat about what is happening. The camps, media team, etc. are their hype media people. Simple. There you go.
True statement right there. True statement. Next questions related to what they're doing. Get an actual story. Move on. You're not here to be rah sis boom ba.
I haven't got your take on this. Your friend Traint Olive asked the question, since I left Savon to come here, how do you feel about Taylor's 4-year ban, which according to him, he found out about from Spin? Is Rich next? That's a lot of questions. First of all, Traint Olive.
There's several questions. First of all, thank you for coming here from Savon, even though Savon was telling everybody that he was fixing to come here. Taylor knew what was happening. He's been talking about it like since the Open when he said, well,
the one part that I do agree with, he asked them a question. They did not answer the question and then slapped him with the ban.
Yeah.
And he did find out from Spin, not from an email from them.
Which is crazy town banana pants. Here's what I don't understand. And they did the same thing to Hiller. I could come on here right now and say, oh, I'm using whatever. Right?
Don't.
Make a public statement out of it. I'm not. But they didn't actually test him. They're banning him for 4 years, which he's perfectly fine with. He's done competing. He said that a million times. He said it again this morning. But they didn't actually test him. They didn't actually test Hiller when they gave him his 4-year ban. Now he was openly saying, "Yep, I'm doing all these experiments on myself with PEDs, blah blah blah, whatever," and that's fine. But you could be lying out of your ass, and they're just going to ban you with no testing whatsoever, and out of competition, because Hiller hadn't signed up. Well, he did sign up with Open under a different name, but the last time Taylor was competing was for the Open, or when they was at semifinals, was that 2 years ago, something like that. He hadn't been able to squat since then because his knee's so jacked up. So that part I'm kind of, and as far as Rich is concerned, Rich is taking the exact same thing for the exact same reason, because his knee's all jacked up and he's trying to get some mobility back in it. So and I love me some Rich Froning, but if it's good for Taylor Self, it should be good for Rich Froning as well. And he's not going to care because, again, he's not competing anymore. So, yeah, ban him if that's on the banned substances list.
So Kaya says, according to their rules, they don't need to test if people are confessing themselves. But if the person that said it is asking for a conversation to be had about it, that doesn't cost anything, because Lana's saying testing's expensive. All he was asking for was a back and forth conversation to discuss it before the final determination was made.
Yeah.
And essentially CrossFit ghosted him and then gave him a ban because the appeal date came and went, and did not voice that to him after they made the final decision. And Spin found it on a post on the website and boosted it out to the world.
If I'm guessing, knowing Taylor, he just wanted to have a conversation saying, hey, look, I know I'm on this athlete council, president of this athlete council. Just wanted to let y'all know, yes, I'm taking this stuff for my knee. I have no desire, urge, whatever. I'm not trying to be the fittest on earth anymore. I'm doing CrossFit for health, longevity, all this stuff, but I can't squat. And that is the basis of everything we do, is a squat. And I can't squat because of my knee. So I'm trying to get my knee better. Knowing Taylor, that's the conversation he wanted to have. Like, just to make sure everything was out there and transparent, and they just ghosted him, which is mind-blowing to me.
Yeah. I think that's the piece that I have a problem with. He was just asking for a conversation. That doesn't cost them anything. They started the conversation. He wanted to continue the conversation. Then they didn't respond. That's the part I have a problem with. I don't know. But I don't know. We'll see what happens in the future.
Well, and I do think it's also fair that everybody's asking, okay, well, Rich has said the same thing. And if it's good for Taylor's health, and Rich is beloved by the community, and absolutely, everybody loves Rich. I love Rich. He's fucking awesome. One time I met him in person. He was a great human being, and nothing has changed my mind about that. I've seen nothing to the contrary of that. So he's also taking it to try to fix his knee. So is he next up? Was his name on the same list? Because I feel like that's going to be a lot bigger news than Taylor stuff.
I think that's where the shadiness comes in on all this.
Yes.
Is that the reason that Taylor got found out is someone reported him for stating it. Right? That's how their drug testing works a lot of time, is someone reports the thought that someone is not in compliance with Cale Layman situation. Same thing, right? They didn't act until someone formally reported him. They didn't notice it on their own. So is someone going to have to willingly report Rich for making the same statement for them to start the investigation? Because he has said it, I think, even more openly than Taylor has, from what I've heard in his podcasts. And yet Taylor is way ahead in this process than Rich is.
Yeah.
So I think that's the problem. Someone went to CrossFit and said, hey, Taylor self-admitted it. He needs to be banned. And nobody has done that to Rich yet, or we have not seen that yet, because it's out now. It's coming out that why isn't.
So with that line of thinking, as much as Rich is beloved by everybody in the community, he also has probably the same amount of haters. So like, it's coming, right? Somebody's going to figure that out.
Same amount of haters to his fans.
Not the
same amount of haters as Taylor.
That's probably fair. That's probably fair. Taylor's a special case, dude. I know people. I've worked with people. I've been around people like with the same kind of like, I'm just gonna mess with everybody in the room type attitude as Taylor does, and I know how to take it. I love Taylor for that, because like he talks not to me, but he talks to people like I talk to my friends.
Okay, fair.
And
go ahead. Do we know for sure if Taylor has or has not been reported? I believe that Taylor stated that it was reported that he made this statement, and that's why he got the initial email saying he had so many days to appeal that. And I think that's what initiates out of season drug testing, unless you're on a certain list. If it comes out of the blue, then it is from a report. So, and I know that like in Dave's Week in Review, the whole Cale Layman situation, Dave said we can't act on that until someone reports it to us. And of course,
it has to be
that, then the next week he got the report and they started their investigation. which ended up going nowhere. But there we are.
I don't even want to talk about that. That part still blows my mind.
So,
you mean to tell me I could have finished 5th in the Open and went and did an in-person semifinal? I got invited to an in-person semifinal at 48 years old with no videos and nobody found anything?
apparently not. I do want to bring up one positive thing before we get off the air.
Yes, please.
So, our girl Carolyn Prevost is going to the games. Masters athlete, going to both the Masters games and the Elite games.
Phenomenal.
Yes, super excited. Well, because of that, she's now an athlete. She received an email yesterday from the head of the Safety Council. It was awesome.
Oh,
so kudos to CrossFit. They were notified that the run, row, run is the only outdoor event at this year's CrossFit Games.
Oh.
They were also given tips on heat acclimation for that run, row, run, where there will be the row, you are exposed. There's no shade. You need to prepare for that. Parts of the run will be shaded. And then, in addition to that, here's a list of medications that can affect heat intolerance.
That's new.
like a very, very in-depth letter to the athletes, preparing them 3 weeks before the games of the heat issues that could come from the run, row, run.
How hot is it in Albany in August?
According to the letter, the standard temperature is like 84 degrees Fahrenheit, but can rise to temperatures as high as 95 degrees.
What's the humidity like?
It's humid, man. Or humid. Well, we're not like bayou humid.
I was to say, is it though?
but yeah, the Midwest can get pretty humid in the summer.
All right. Well, and you know what? Good on them. Good on the Safety Council for getting ahead of it and just saying, hey, look, this is the only one y'all going to be outside for. Here's how hot it's probably going to be. You're going to be in the sun for this. You might want a hat, whatever, like keep much of the sun off of you and whatnot. We'll have water stations. Annie Thor's daughter.
Yep. Just a few. They actually say that there'll be water stations at each mile post.
Good.
And there will be cool towels available. There will be, like, they list a bunch of things that will be available to them or what they might bring.
Awesome.
Exactly, Trent Olive. A little effort goes a long way. Why couldn't this have been done from the beginning? But great job on it. Yeah. Again, not going back and looking at the past. Really cool letter that came from the Safety Council.
Yeah.
And even gave names to contact if there's questions further about anything that would be going on in those events.
So they always say the NFL is the one is a what have you done for me lately league, right? When it comes to players and whatnot. This is a what have you done for me lately situation right now. Hey, we're getting ahead of it. It's going to be hot. Here's a whole list of stuff. If you're on any of these medications, you might not want to be by the time you get out there. Here's an idea to be able to train for, get acclimated to hot weather if you're not from somewhere where it's hot, etc. So good on them. Good on them. Positive change. Like, I'm with you. Like, acknowledge what happened and we need to move on. Like, you can't keep harping back on it because you can't change what happened.
Well, and if you listen to Ariel's interview with Savon yesterday, her concern was, is it going to be safe? Are they going to share information with us? And then, like, that came an hour after that interview ended. And they couldn't have put it out in an hour. It was too much information.
Yeah. They were watching Ariel talking, like typing at the same time.
Oh shit, Ariel's saying this. We need to get this done now. You could tell it was done well before that.
Good.
But kudos to them, because that is.
Hey, more power to them.
Yeah.
More power to them.
I did find it a bit humorous that Ariel trusts Rich and Katie, so she trusts the safety council a little bit more. The legit qualifications of the people on that safety board are insane.
Yeah.
Like
when I went look them up.
Just because those two we know, what they put together was pretty freaking cool.
And it's a simple thing to do.
Yeah.
It is a very, very simple thing to do. Hey, here's just look, it's gonna be hot. What's a good way to train for heat? Let's talk to these three people. All right, write down some stuff. Put it together, format an email, send it. Look, send.
To put in average temperature, put in upper limits of temperature, to put in where there's shade, where there's not shade, where there'll be water, where there won't be water. Like all of that is in there now.
Covering the bases.
And none of it takes away from that test. None of that has to take away from that test. Like knowing where the water stations are doesn't take away from that test. Right? You know what I mean? Like everybody who's screaming about known and unknown and unknowable. None of this stuff known changes that test.
No.
It's sad somebody had to die for them to finally do it. Okay. But a lot of change happens because of tragedy. In real life, not just sport.
Real life, it usually is a combination of nothing changes if nothing changes. It is a very much, if it ain't broke, don't fix it type deal. Nothing happened at the games for 17 years before something did.
Yeah. But like Rich fell from the rope and now there's a big pad at the bottom of the ropes. Right? Like it doesn't always have to be a death that changes it. You know, when they were inventing the airplane, how many people got hurt or died before they figured out the right way to make the wings? You know what I mean?
Pat and Matt both fell off the cargo net. We have not had an obstacle course race since then.
Such a shame.
That was so much fun to watch.
Yeah.
But I mean,
sounds like the moms on our son's all-star team freaking out about kids playing baseball in the heat. Just be smart. It's not rocket science.
It's really not. It's really, really not. Just knowing that you're going to be outside in the summertime. Well, it's probably going to be hot.
Water stations in shade don't need to be unknowable.
No.
Yeah. I mean, we could say that. We could say like all this stuff is common sense, but I'm glad they didn't leave it up to common sense. Put it in writing. Say what they're going to be faced with.
It's a warning sign, Scott. It's just like the thing on the hair dryers is do not use in the tub.
Right. This Superman Halloween costume will not give you the ability to fly.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Speaking of, Superman came out today.
Unofficially. It really doesn't come out till the 11th, but you could get special tickets off of Amazon today.
It's available at the theater by my house right now. Like if I wanted to go, I'd have to leave.
I've heard it actually has gotten great reviews.
Yes. I'm a huge Superman geek. Like all the way through and through. Been that way since Jesus was a baby.
Superman used to be my favorite hero, and then I got bored with him.
Well, he's the ultimate Boy Scout, dude. Like he doesn't lose.
Well, yeah, he's bulletproof. He can fly. He's fast. Like, he's got all the shit. Like, I started leaning more towards Batman because it's just a dude who's smart and has some really cool toys.
And some serious mental health issues. But yeah. I just like Superman because you have to scale up to be able to give him some sort of challenge or whatnot. But from what I've seen a lot of videos about how this one's going to be done, and it's a lot more him, like the human side of him, like him being a dude, like that.
I heard the love story's like excellent, and the chemistry between him and Lois Lane is off the charts.
I can't wait, dude. I'm super pumped. Super pumped. I watched. So when I was a kid, like from 1 all the way through the Quest for Peace, which was garbage, but I watched it anyway. And then the Brandon Routh, emo Superman, Smallville, like comics, the whole 9 yards. The chances are better not. If you got a question, I could probably answer it.
Yeah, the Brandon Routh one was very underrated. That was actually a pretty good movie.
It was all right, dude. It was good up until I was like, oh, he's just going to win by picking up this big rock and throwing it out into space. Got it. 10-4.
Leto, Mr. Two Favorite Men. Anyway,
sorry.
Yeah, and then the Richard Pryor one was just
that would be Superman 3.
God awful.
We had drunk Superman with the red kryptonite, and yeah, it's an interesting choice.
Well, I want to finish up with this. I have other stuff on my notebook, but I'll do that tomorrow. Like the WFP qualifiers were done. Very interesting because the women's field very deep for the qualifiers this time. Men's, meh.
Yeah.
But the last thing I want to end with is like, I was listening to a podcast with Ben Roethlisberger, talking about like his kids are fans of the Steelers now, and that every year for Christmas they get jerseys, and that he doesn't allow he doesn't allow his kids to buy any jerseys from any other AFC North team. Like no Jamar Chase, no Joe Burrow.
Right.
But they always get Steeler jerseys every year. And he was like, last year for Christmas, they got 4 jerseys of Steelers, and each kid got 2. 3 of the 4 are gone from the team. From Christmas to now.
Damn.
Gone from the team. And I'm like, it's tough. Like when I was a kid, like you could have one player and that player be with the team like for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. And now like you can get cheap jerseys at Ross Dress for Less because they've been traded 3 times since they made the jersey.
Unless it's a franchise quarterback or like the captain of the defense, maybe if you got like a wide receiver who's like a franchise wide receiver. Other than that, dude, everybody else is fair game.
Yeah. Vicky, the new quarterback doc is available on Netflix. I know, dying to start it, but I needed this sinus. My eye was seeping so bad yesterday. I just like laid in bed.
It's miserable.
Lito, have you talked about the new apparel sponsor for Masters this year? Was it official?
Yeah, they just put something out earlier. Oh, God, I just saw it. It's on Legends page. I literally saw it right before I leaned in.
I had heard rumor, but now I don't think it is because of the way you're talking.
Gem Reapers.
Sharing my screen now. Official apparel belt sleeve, Gem Reapers.
And they just getting started.
You excited about that?
I'm not going to the games, so I really couldn't care less, to be honest with you. I hope they do. I hope they do for the Masters athletes better than they did last year. I'll put it to you like that. I do wish that for them. I got a buddy of mine that I just realized was going that I competed with at Legends last year, Greg Hauser. So like I hope they give him enough stuff to last the entire weekend without having to do laundry 3 times. That would be pretty cool for Jamie and for Carolyn as well. Like,
I mean, I'm in the back seeing like the names falling off of the.
Were they really?
You had to wash them so much to get through.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Oh, dude, that's terrible. Booty shorts and a lot of low cut bras. I fail to see the problem, Lito.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, Carolyn will have a conniption.
Yes, you will.
And she has a legit, like, she's a school teacher.
Yeah.
She doesn't want stuff out on the internet. A firm booty shorts and low cut sports bras. She teaches kids every day in her real life. And then Jamie wants all the booty shorts and all the low cut sports bras. So the 2 co-hosts on Sunday night completely.
They could not. Yeah. When it comes to that concept, they couldn't be more different. I'm with like whoever it ends up being whenever I end up making it. Like, I want decent shorts that don't go down past my knees, which is not easy to do because I'm not real tall. And I really don't care what the shirts look like because I'm only going to be wearing it to walk out onto the floor and then it's coming off. So that doesn't really matter. But I do want it to look nice. That would be good.
Yeah.
You want to I have no idea about
for a while. It's part of the trophy.
Yeah, 100%.
Trophy. That's part of the reward for making it. Like, and you want it to last. You don't want letters falling off by the 3rd day because you had to wash it every night.
Just a couple Masters athletes that I know down here that have made the games, like, are still wearing their stuff years later.
Alito, I'm with Carolyn on that one. I don't wear booty shorts, so that leaves me with a pair of leggings for the entire weekend.
Lito, I hope they give y'all options. Like, hey, I don't wear booty shorts. Instead of forcing these shorts on me, can you just give me 3 pairs of leggings instead, or whatever, whatever the case may be. Like, I don't need shorts. I don't want shorts.
Or can we just some of the newer shorts, like you see Fee and Caroline Stanley wearing, that are like the tennis skirts, like some options like that. There's some cooler, hipper stuff that aren't booty shorts.
That's not just your booty cheeks hanging out the bottom of it. Especially for Masters athletes, dude. Like, the young women probably care less, I would say, than the Masters age athletes. But like Carolyn, like you said, she is a professional. She is a school teacher. She does not want her stuff hanging out all over the place. And especially when you get up into the older age group, those ladies certainly don't want their stuff hanging out all over the place because they got grandkids watching and whatever, whatever else the case may be.
Yeah, just options. That's all we're asking for. Well, we have gone long.
It happens.
And I am back to work today, so I need to get back up there and sign back in. With that, guys, it's been fun. Trying to talk about everything going on a slow week has turned not to be slow. And I did, there are some things floating out there that a sale is imminent, possibly this week. So
I'll believe it when it happens. They've been talking about it for a year now.
True.
So
with that, you knuckleheads get back to work. I need to get back to work too. We'll see everybody next time on Lunch with the Clydesdale. Bye, guys.